Hello and welcome back to the Wisconsin Games Alliance YouTube channel. This is Ross and I am here with Nick, and I would like for you to start by introducing yourself and the game that you brought to the Game Developers Conference, aka GDC, this year.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Nick. I'm an indie developer outside of my full-time job, but I've been at it for like 2 years, and I got to bring my game called Wordlock. It's a concatenation of word warlock. So it's like a typing game. Kind of think like old school Zelda or Enter the Gungeon meets like Mavis Beacons or Type to Learn, where you have to actually spell out your spells.
Also, word to the wise, if you're Googling word lock, also put game afterwards, or else
Yes.
you will find the actual locks that have words on them.
Exactly. Yeah. Help out the SEO on that one for sure.
That's right. Well, hopefully we can get you up there for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of GDC, I've heard it can be a whirlwind. So now that you've had a few days to get back home and decompress, what's one big takeaway or recurring theme that you noticed that just among developers this year in general?
That's a really good question. So a little bit of context. This was my first GDC. I consider myself pretty new to like game dev space. So that definitely influences like my thoughts and feelings about everything. It definitely was a whirlwind. I got in on Tuesday midday, and I was like, it felt like freshman year of college again, where I'm like, I don't know where the buildings are. There's so many people I don't know.
Who am I going to eat lunch with?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it was like, it was like, about after like an hour, you get your footing and you see where everything is. But I would say the biggest takeaway is just how willing everyone there is to talk about like all things game development, not only what they do, but they're also all really interested to hear what you do. I never found myself in a situation because you be in a lot of lines and you just talk to the people in front of you, behind you. And like, I never ran into a situation where someone was like super standoffish or super rude or anything like that. So that was honestly like the biggest takeaway. That was like everyone who was there, it wasn't just like their job was putting them out there and they were like, whatever, this is another GDC. Like people were amped, whether it was their first, like me, or I met some people that was like their sixth GDC.
So speaking about meeting people, was there a specific kind of meeting or chance encounter, that sort of thing that knocked you over, or any specific feedback that you received that has you kind of looking differently at your?
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be like a super like singular moment. There was a couple of talks I went to that were really inspiring for like kind of two different reasons. There is one done by I'm going to forget the speaker's name, but they're with Strange Scaffolds, that indie studio, if you know them. She did a great presentation on like they're super scrappy. They're like a all remote, mostly part-time like indie studio that they like contract a lot of people. And they had worked on a licensed game. They worked on like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, but the talk was really more from like almost like a project management perspective of how they all work together. For me, that was really fascinating as someone who like, I'm just, I do this primarily solo. I'll occasionally work with like a friend or colleague in person. But it was like, if I ever get more serious into it, I think it'd be down that road where I'm like working with people around the world and kind of more in like a remote setting. So that was really, really inspiring, and to see just how much they got done in such a short, limited period of time, and working with, Paramount is like a huge company. So that was one.
Sorry, is this the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is that Splintered Fate, the one that's like Hades, or is like? Has there been a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games
It's
recently?
not that one. It's the one that's more. I can't remember the exact title. It's more like a tactics game where it's kind of like it looks like XCOM, kind of where it's like top down controlling units. Yeah.
Sweet.
It was really cool to hear. I think that'll eventually. I think all the GDC talks eventually go to YouTube, but definitely give that one a watch. And then the other one, and this was more of just like from like a passion perspective, was I went to, it was like an experimental games showcase where it's just like 2 hours of super, like in the best way, oddball games. There was like one of just a woman who turned her entire apartment into an escape room for her friends, or like, that controversial game that came out recently. It's like horses or whatever it was. It's like an art house.
Horse teeth, or is it horses?
I think it's just horses. It was like the art house like horror game. But he was there, and then a whole bunch of other. It's just really cool to hear people talk about game almost like film. Like it almost felt like I was like a Sundance festival for that one. So that was just being in both of those was like super electric and really inspiring.
I mean, speaking on the games as art front,
Mhm.
have we kind of officially, indicated at this point that like games are art if you want them to be?
Yes, yes. It's such a, and I guess it's not that unique. I was gonna say it's such a unique form of entertainment because it can really be like entertainment and art. But I would say that's kind of the case nowadays with a lot of like, you have like Netflix slop. I say this endearingly. I enjoy it. Like Love is Blind, like these kind of more like ridiculous reality TV shows.
Yeah,
But you can also
second
have
screen experiences.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then you can have like Game of Thrones or like Night of the Seven Kingdoms that are these shows that are like much more artful and like really particular. But both are like equally valid. So I think games certainly I feel like have earned that spot for a long time now for sure.
I mean, games as art are a double-edged sword because one
Mhm.
of its defining factors is its interactivity,
Yeah.
and interactivity is difficult to control. And so sometimes with a singularity of vision, it can be difficult to communicate in the same way that other forms and mediums of art expect,
Yeah.
because you just don't have the amount of control as a creator unless you really, really try.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's
makes
a
sense.
great point too, even both in terms of like, yeah, player agency and even like games, the larger games take so many people, right? Like these studios have like thousands, tens of thousands, if not more, people working on it. So yeah, you rarely get like a Hitchcock style game, right? Where it's like a huge production made this, but it's one person's vision. You get that like Kojima games, you get those a lot, but rarely do you get like a triple A huge budget thing that feels like, oh man, this was like one person's ideas really are imprinted on it.
I think Yahtzee Croshaw talked about it in
Mhm.
the difficulty for singularity of vision as teams get larger,
Yeah,
the add a sandwich factor. Like
yeah,
like if you just say add a sandwich here, how many meetings does it take? Well, with
yeah,
one person dev, you're done. You
yep,
already had the meeting. Apparently with larger studios, it gets complicated fast.
yeah.
So
I believe it.
yeah. Anyways, so as far as the time GDC is with a game to showcase, pardon me, with a game to showcase, did you spend most of the time like tethered to the game, or did you have time to experience the rest of GDC? Is there anything that kind of um, inspired you to get back to your desk and like fix something,
Mhm.
change something, or design something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, it helped me if I get sidetracked on the first part. Remind me of the second part because I
yeah,
have
sure.
answers for both. But the way Wisconsin Games Alliance did it was great because the three expo days, it was three different projects being shown. So I was on Wednesday, and I was sure you'll talk to the other two, Midwest Goodbye and Dynamite. But that structure was really great because on Wednesday I was the only, I'm like a solo developer on this, so it was me at the booth. So I was tethered to it, but that's like how I like it to be. When I'm at these, like I've never been to GDC, but I've been to NDev and some Chicago ones. I can't rip myself away when people are playing because I find it really fascinating. But it was really great then to have, I got there Tuesday and then all of Thursday, Friday to go see the expo. So I kind of got to get the best of both worlds in that way.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, so
then
second half, anything that inspired you, any changes, any insight, that sort of thing.
yeah, there's always, I'm trying to think if there's anything like major. It's always interesting to see from a user experience point of view, because it's a typing game, the skill curve is like very physical based. It's like someone's fidelity in typing. So some people sit down and like really kill it immediately and totally get it. Or some people sit down and they're more like the finger pecker type, or they have to like look at the keyboard and find the letters they want to type. So I always feel like I come out of it with like another idea of, oh, maybe this would be a better like accessibility option or a better easy mode, things like that. I get to talk with a lot of people of that, of like, okay, maybe I could handle like typos differently on easy mode or things like that.
I actually have a follow-up question there, if it's
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Please
So
do.
presumably when you show off, you're showing this game off PC, keyboard,
Yeah.
mouse.
Yep.
Okay. Is like presumably this game, being a typing game, isn't the most Steam Deck friendly game in the world, but Steam does have a typewriter. Like that it exists, but I wouldn't call myself typing on it. So it is there a glimmer of hope for a Steam Deck typewriter mode in Wordlock, or is that, it just feels like, because it feels like the difficulty curve for that would have to be so different than the normal game, that it would have to be almost like a separate branch of every.
Yeah, I definitely plan on making it like always be like a game. It is a game about typing, right? So like someone showed me a really cool solution. There was like a Scribblenauts party game I had never heard of, but someone at GDC like showed me a video of it on their phone. It had a pretty clever idea, because in Scribblenauts you have to like write words, right? But it's a controller game, and so it was like every 4 buttons on your controller would be a letter, and but every time you selected one, it would be like a context menu, and it would know like what's the next letter you're trying to go with. But I think it'll mainly always be a keyboard game. I'm actually not familiar with like you mentioned a Steam Deck typewriter. Is it like a physical, like literal keyboard you connect to?
What do they call that? The Aperture Science Lab, the free demo that you got with the Steam Deck, shows you how to do everything that even that most people don't do on a Steam Deck.
Okay.
One of the things that you do is it tells you, okay, now you use the 2 touchpads and you kind of thumb your way into typing. So it's like a special mode that turns on. So there might be a specific kind of like, I expect keyboard input type of interaction with the game. In order to force that mode, because I assume with most games, the Steam keyboard popping up is not the intended result. And so there would have to be some pretty specific design involved, and it also takes up, I think, half the screen.
So it like pulls up a little like digital keyboard, right? Is that
it would be a variety of UX challenges.
Maybe a stretch goal, maybe something on the roadmap.
First things first, right? So now, as far as like GDC in general, is there anything in particular at GDC that helped you feel connected to the broader industry, and or what's one thing you saw there that you'd love to see more in either local events or our local community?
Ooh, I like that question.
As we are a place that puts on MDev from year to year.
Yeah. One thing that really like, I think it'd be 2 things. One, because it was just such a grand spectacle and celebration, was they do a concert on like Tuesday of the festival. They've been doing that for like 4 years, I think. If anyone's watched this and you're going to GDC, go to the concert. Don't miss it. It was like actually surreal experience, because it was just like a total celebration of games from like the 80s to now. So that was amazing. And that was something, even though like, you're not networking, you're not meeting anybody, you're in this room of like thousands of people that are just so passionate about it. Troy Baker was on stage, like Ben Starr was up there. It was really, really cool. But at a more like practical level, I think the fact that there's so many events that are like primarily for just socializing outside of GDC was really helpful. Some of them are just literal meetups of like, we're the game maker meetup, or we're the 3D artist meetup. But then there's more in-depth ones, and those were some of my favorites. Of like, there was a bar hosting like an indie playtest, and so like 20 some odd indie devs had signed up already. They had like stations in this bar, and that was a really cool way to like feel really connected. Of like, okay, these are just indies. 20 some odd projects here showcasing it, but then also like 100 attendees who, go figure, are all game developers from all over. And that was really feels connected. So I would say like any local community doing both the events of like, yes, we host playtests, yes, we host like workshops, things like that, but also just providing the forums just to like, hey, maybe we're just hanging out. We're probably still going to talk about games because that's why we're all here. But it's just a more really casual setting like that. Super helpful.
So it's not just nuts and bolts. It is about connection as well, because everyone really wants to feel connected to the things they're passionate about.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure for everyone there, this is like the one time a year you get that many people to connect on something like that. Yeah.
Now speaking of that, for local devs who can't make the trip, or at least couldn't make it this year, what's the best way to stay in the loop or apply GDC level insights to their work from home? Is the GDC YouTube page and the talks the best way to interact, or is there kind of a way to get your finger on the pulse of that larger community?
Yeah, I'll give two answers. For just the GDC side of things, the YouTube channel is incredible. I've been watching GDC talks for years. There's so many good ones, like the Doom push forward combat is really good. The FTL postmortem is incredible. So definitely recommend watching those. They cover all the disciplines.
In a previous year, I remember seeing I think, what was it? Maybe the Thomas was alone or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's some really, really good ones out there for sure.
Yeah. So those are great. And then I would say, like, for getting like a finger on the pulse of like what's game dev like, or maybe you're in game dev and you just want to connect with more people. I don't necessarily think it needs to like be at GDC. Like, there's a ton of these communities. Like, I'll obviously plug this one again. Like, Wisconsin Games Alliance is really great. I mean, that Discord, and people are active there. MDev is a great event that, like, it is in a lot of ways more intimate. So you really do get to talk with people more deeply there. And then I'm in a Chicago one. It's called like Indie City Games. And it's just a big Discord of really passionate people. We do like 2 events a month. Like, one's a social event and one's a playtest event. And that has been the way that I've like leveled up in this like hobby of mine, where it was like I did the like a 1 game jam and I started 1,000 projects that I eventually threw away. But once I joined that group, to be around a little bit more like-minded people and also have like the resources to see what other people are working on and maybe have people try your project is super valuable. So wherever your community is, there's going to be some group within a few hour drive at the most. So find that group, join that Discord, and chat with people.
Sweet. Now, what was the very first thing on your to-do list like when you came back? Was it like nap, laundry, or was there something that you were absolutely just rearing to go on your project?
Oh man, it was definitely like nap and laundry right away. I took a big list of. I would say the other thing then was a big list of things to just capture for work. So I took like a whole list of notes, and then a big list of follow-ups of people to reach out to. That was like a staggering list of like business cards or Discord. There was nothing like so involved there, but it's just like, okay, I want to be sure I keep in contact with this person or that person, and say thanks to this person for coming by and seeing the game. So those are the biggest things. I'd say I also kind of enjoy being able to like take a breather after these things. You get so immersed, you get so into it, where it's almost like I feel like I almost need like a week of like, okay, now I like am not going to be actively hammering on it, because you're also just like, before these things, it's just natural to be like try to cram as much into the build as possible. On the plane ride to San Francisco, I was like, I'm going to add one more feature on the plane ride. So I was definitely ready for a relaxation time at home.
Yeah, what I've heard is that it's never a bad idea to make old friends, and so I could see hey, I should really keep reaching out to these groups of people. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I was shocked too of the amount of people from MDev that were at GDC that I just like by happenstance ran into. Like, some people I made the connection, we met up, but there's some people I was just like, you were at MDev, like I met you, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so like the Midwest, it's small enough where you know the people, but it's big enough that we can change the world. So that is kind of cool that way. It's
absolutely.
the kind of halfway between thing that we've got going on.
Yeah.
Are there any shout outs that you wanted to do, like as far as Wordlock itself, anything to announce, anything to like, did attending change the the release date, or the distribution model, or the publishing, is there anything that you wanted to call out as far as things to pay attention to on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, always plug the Steam page. Go check it out. The demo that I have out is there. There was no like, oh, and I'm going to come out from this and like change direction or things like that. If anything, it's more of like kind of doubling down of like I had a lot of talks with some developers of like, oh, are we going to make like, we're going to introduce all these systems, and it's more of like, refining the direction of the game. So no huge like, release date announcements here. Part of that too is I enjoy the freedom of like doing this in my free time. I'll of course give the shout outs to the person who does like the promotional art and all the music is Will Carlson. You can Google Will Carlson music. He's got a website of all of his really awesome work.
Carlson with C or Carlson with a K?
C Carlson. So check him out. And then, I got to shout out my parents for making me like a gamer kid, and shout out my fiance for also supporting me all the way.
Shout out the support, man.
Yeah, you got to have the loved ones with you.
That's for sure. Anything else that you wanted to bring up or talk about? I don't want to be the only person that comes up with questions for you.
No, all good. I guess I would, well, first, just like, thank you for this interview. Thank you, Wisconsin Games Alliance, for like the opportunity to do this, right? That was like pretty surreal. Yeah, pretty wild. When I got the email from Ben Quala, I was like, oh, am I really going to, I see my camera went off. Can you still hear me, by the way?
I can still hear you, but you are a very interesting stop motion. So I assume you'll come back at some point.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. I like moved my keyboard. It's a good thing there's not a live stream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're still got audio, so it's
there. We go. Okay.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah. But yeah, so huge thanks to like Wisconsin Games Alliance, Midwest Games, and Ben Quala for the opportunity. It was really surreal. I don't think I have any parting questions for this, but anyway, I'll just say to like anyone who maybe is like me from like 2 years ago, who like always thought of themselves as like one, obviously like a game enthusiast, but always like thought of themselves as kind of like I like the idea of like game design, and I watch all these YouTube essays and I do all these things, but really when it comes down to like hands on keyboard, pen on paper, I was like not being directed enough with it, and I thought there was these imaginary blockers. I would say to just do the thing, right? Whatever it is. If it's like you want to compose music, I'm a programmer, so I was like, I'm gonna start programming games. To just do it and like and find the communities that will encourage you to keep doing it. Just after 6 months, you'll shock yourself. Like save builds of what you did month 1 versus month 3 and at a year, and like your brain will like trick yourself and be like, I've made no progress, but you'll like blow your mind of like after 6 months of work on something to see how far you've come. Even if it's 6 different projects, you'll be the sixth one will be infinitely better than the first.
Yeah, the beauty of the iterative process when you keep showing
yeah, just bit by bit.
Cool. At that, thank you very much for your time. Hope to hear more from you and about Wordlock in the near future.
Absolutely. Yeah, really appreciate you taking the time, Ross.
All right. Later, everybody.